Hi.
How are you?
Oh, Heather's joining. Awesome. Hi, Heather.
Hi. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Maria.
Cool. We can hop into it. See if anyone else joins. Any requests? Excuse me.
Let me think. Maybe some heart openers.
Okay.
Just some gentle heart openers would be great.
Cool. Sounds great. There's Wendy. Hi, Wendy.
There she is.
Hi.
Any requests?
Is it the last day of May?
It is.
Well, we normally do restore, and that's why I do yoga.
Oh, I didn't know that it was a restore day. Cool.
Yeah,
We can
yeah,
definitely do some restore. Awesome.
If you're up to it, if
Yeah.
not, something slow.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Restore. I love Restore.
Okay, me too.
So cool. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm glad you said something because I didn't get that memo that it was Restore Day. So cool. Yeah, we'll do
Well,
some
they don't know
Restore.
that I'm super crazy about it, so.
I love it. You know what works, you know what you want.
I think we all love Restore,
right.
right?
Yeah, yes, I love Restore.
Okay, great. Well, let's get into some Restore then. Love it.
Thank you.
So we'll do some
Yeah.
heart openers. Anything else?
Anything you do, I'm gonna love, so.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Great. Well, yeah, go ahead and grab anything that you want to use for your props. Cameras on, cameras off, whatever feels good. We'll do a little grounding meditation and then we'll get into some juicy restore poses. So, getting nice and comfortable, choosing if you want to meditate from a seated position or lying down. Take your time to get settled in. Just starting to notice your breath. It would feel good once you land, taking a nice deep breath in and letting it go. That feel good? Maybe doing that another round or two. And know that that nice cleansing inhale and that release with the exhale is always available. It can be a great way to release anything, to let go. It can be a nice little sign to the body to just relax a little bit more. If you want to connect with the breath in any other way, if you want to start to take slower, deeper breaths, if you want to breathe in and out of the nose, if you want to play with Ujjayi pranayama, whatever feels good for you to bring the breath in. And just taking some time to check in. Just see what's going on. What are you working with today? How's the physical body feeling? Is there anywhere to stay aware of through your practice? Are there any injuries you're working with? Is there anywhere that needs a little extra attention or love today? And just continuing to check in with the body as we get into these shapes, especially as we hold the shapes longer, to just see if it feels good to go deeper or if we want to draw ourselves out and not go so deep, if we want to hold ourselves in a space. That's where props can come in handy. It can keep us in a nice little Goldilocks spot, or we can use the props to gently ease our way into more depth, however we choose to explore each shape in the body. Always trying to be respectful of our bodies and any messages that they're sending us. Bodies communicate through sensations, so staying in tune. And checking in emotionally, seeing what's alive for you. What are you carrying with you into your practice today? What are you working with? Our yoga practice, especially Restore, can be a time to hold a little more space for our emotions. And that can be simply acknowledging that they're there. It can also be an opportunity to start to feel into those emotions, to start to let that energy with information move through us. If it feels like the right time, or if it feels like a safe place to do that. But that doesn't mean that we have to dive into our deepest, biggest emotions if this doesn't feel like the right time or place, or if some of them may feel a little too hot to touch. But we can acknowledge them without ignoring them or pushing them away. And there might be things that come up as we get into these different shapes. So, seeing how we can be present to that, how we can work with this information, this energy. Checking in with the mind. And then Restore, when we don't have a lot of movement in the body to connect to our meditation, it can be a little more challenging to work with the mind. So we can utilize this time to practice noticing where the mind goes, getting curious about the thoughts. We can use it as a time to practice tools of connection to bring us back to presence, strengthening our mindfulness muscle. But this could also be a little bit of space and time to kind of let the mind go. There can be some benefit to reflecting on the past and imagining the future, and there can be a right time and place for that, and this could be it. When when it becomes a detriment to let the mind wander is when we start to ruminate, when we get so caught up in the thoughts and the past and the future that we forget to live in the present moment, or we get ourselves so worked up with things that have already happened that we can't control, or that haven't happened yet, that may never happen, but we're still trying to control. So, utilizing this time in whatever way feels best for you to explore the body, the feelings, the emotions, the mind. Always taking care of yourself first. And as you feel ready, I'll invite us into our first shape. We'll take just a little bit of movement, nothing too active, just to kind of prepare the body for some longer holds. So we'll start by coming onto our backs and coming into constructive rest. So with the knees bent, we'll plant the feet on the floor, finding a nice flat low back. So if we need to, we can lift the hips and tuck the tailbone down. Arms can be anywhere that feels good alongside the body. They could be on the body, maybe on the belly, or one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Arms can open up. And then we'll walk the feet a little wider than hip distance. They could even walk off the mat. And we'll just start to let the knees drop side to side. Starting to find some windshield wipers, seeing what's going on in the legs, the hips, the low back, the side bodies. If hanging out in a twist for a few rounds of breath would feel good, feel free to hang out with the knees drop to one side and then to the other. You could even bring in some movement in the head as you drop the knees to one side. You could take the gaze to the other side. Then if it feels okay, we'll draw the knees back up through center and start to bring the knees in towards the chest, just as far as feels okay. We can bring the hands the outsides or tops of the knees. And we'll start to find some circles in the knees. So choosing if they want to move in opposite directions, if one wants to move clockwise and the other counterclockwise, or if you want to move the knees in the same direction. If we move in opposite direction, that may get us a little more into our hips. If we move in the same direction, that may get a little more pressure movement in our low back. So just seeing what feels good here. And then reversing the direction of those circles in whichever way you're exploring. And then we'll start to make our way into a half happy baby. So release the left foot down, right knee towards the chest. We'll kick the right foot up towards the sky and we'll let the right knee open up towards the right armpit. We can grab anywhere behind the right knee, up the leg, or on the foot. You could also use a strap or a towel or a belt if you want to wrap it around the foot. Your choice if the left knee is bent, foot on the floor, if that left leg extends out to any degree. Seeing if we can find a little bit of opening in the hip and then just explore sensation. Maybe in the back of the leg, into the low back. We won't be here for too long. Connecting with your breath. And then whenever it feels good for you, we'll come into a twist. So we'll release the right leg and we'll invite the right knee over towards the left. As we bring it over towards the left, the leg could hang out in space, it could release towards the ground, or we could bring in props. We could bring in a bolster, blanket, pillows, cushions, whatever we have. We can stack it up to support the leg. You can choose how you set up the upper body. You could bring the right shoulder away from the ground and roll more onto the left side body for a more gentle option. You could also invite the right shoulder towards the ground. It doesn't need to touch, but that'll bring in more twisting and a little bit of opening in the chest. You could even choose to extend the right arm out. It could release towards the ground, hang out in space, or you could bring a prop underneath the shoulder, arm, or hand. You can even take the gaze over towards the right if that feels good here. Allowing yourself to settle into the shape. So seeing if you can release any muscular effort, whether that's releasing the shape towards the ground, towards a prop, or towards the weight of gravity. We don't want to feel like we're holding ourselves in these shapes and that we have to be active. We want to try to release and relax and utilize props to help support that. And as we settle in, just continuing that internal exploration, checking in with the sensations in the body, checking in with any feelings or emotions that may be present or may start to come up. Getting curious about the mind, how we want to play with that. We'll be here for about another minute if that feels okay. You can always come out sooner, you can always stay longer. And whenever it feels good for you, get no rush. We'll slowly start to unwind, drawing the right knee back up. And then we'll let the right knee open up towards the right. And your choice if the knee stays more like open standing staff or reclined staff with the knee at more of a 90-degree angle and the hip at a 90-degree angle. If you want this to be more like a reclined tree, bringing the right foot in towards midline. But seeing if we can release the right leg and knee towards the ground or slide blocks or props underneath the thigh or the knee for support. Again, the left leg could be extended, the knee could be bent, the knee could be in towards the chest. Whatever feels good here, to maybe find a little more opening through our hips. Arms can do anything here. They can open up into full posts or reach out or overhead or release along the body. Knowing that it's okay if these slowed down practices feel challenging in their own way. We sometimes can think of a slower practice as being easier. Again, without a lot of movement in the body, it really challenges us to go inward, to find the stillness in the body, which can be hard, but then also to just really explore our internal world. So it's okay if this is a challenge. It's okay if it's hard to settle in the body and the mind or in the feelings. Just doing the best you can, knowing that this is just some time and space to relax as best as you can, to explore, to get curious. We'll be here for just about another minute if that feels okay. Whenever it feels good for you, get no rush. We'll start to draw the right knee in. We can use the hand to help support. And then one last shape on our right side. We'll take a reclined pigeon or figure four. So we can bend the left knee if it was straight. We'll cross our right ankle over the left thigh and let that right knee open up, finding a figure four shape here. We can stay here. The left foot could stay on the ground. The left foot could walk closer towards the glute for a little more sensation. You could also lift the left foot off the ground. It could land on a prop, or you could thread the hands through and interlace behind or in front of the left knee to support. We're looking to explore sensation in our outer right hip. If you want more sensation, you could also find some gentle rocking side to side. You can invite the left knee closer towards the left shoulder, just as a direction, not a destination. You can also use the right elbow or the right hand to gently press the right knee open. Seeing where we can soften. Again, we don't want any muscular effort. If the hands are interlaced, there'll be a little bit of tension between the fingers. But other than that, we don't want to transfer any tension up into the shoulders, the neck, the jaw, the face. We want to soften as much as we can. Release as much muscular effort. And just let our bodies settle into the shape as much as feels safe and available. Connecting with your breath. And just continuing to check in with the body, the mind, emotions. About another minute here if that feels okay. Whenever it feels good for you, no rush. If the left foot was lifted, we'll release it down. We'll uncross the right leg and feel free to explore any movements, any counter stretches would feel good here. Maybe it's revisiting windshield wipers or some circles through the knees. It could be a waterfall, extending the legs up. You could shake out in the legs. You can come up to seated if getting off the back would feel good before we explore that little series on the other side or anything else that feels good. And then whenever you feel ready, no rush, we'll just start to find our half happy baby on the other side. So we'll draw the left knee in towards the chest, open it up towards the left shoulder, and kick the left foot up towards the sky, keeping that left knee bent. And we can grab on anywhere behind the knee, up the leg, or on the foot, or utilize some sort of strap or a towel or belt or anything to wrap around the foot. The right knee, foot could be on the floor with the knee bent, or we could extend the right leg out to any degree, whatever feels good here to explore your half happy baby on the other side. I won't be here for too long. Connecting with your breath, checking in with the body, and noticing if there's differences on each side. It's totally normal to have different ranges of motion, different sensations. Different experiences on each side. More rounds of breath here. Now, whenever it feels good for you, releasing your half happy baby and starting to set up a twist. So, inviting that left knee over towards the right, and the leg could hang out in space. It could release towards the ground, or it could release towards a prop. We can play with the position of the left shoulder. That left shoulder could lift off the ground, and we could roll more onto the right side body for a more gentle option. We could invite the left shoulder towards the ground. It definitely doesn't need to touch. For more twist and for a little bit of heart and chest opening, we could extend the left arm out towards the left. It could release towards the ground or a prop. We could take the gaze over towards the left, whatever feels good on this side. Doesn't have to be the same shape or the same experience. Connecting with your breath. The breath can be a really good indicator of what's going on in our present moment. If the breath feels forced or stagnant, or like we have to hold the breath, maybe a good sign that we're going too deep or we're pushing ourselves towards potential injury. May feel different taking deeper breaths into the belly in your twist, but you should still be able to access the breath. And seeing if we can allow ourselves to settle into this shape. Not exerting muscular effort to hold ourselves, but allow the ground, the props, and gravity to hold us. We'll be here for about another minute. If that feels okay, you can always come out sooner. You can always stay longer. Whenever you start to feel complete, gently starting to unwind, coming back onto the back. And then we'll let the left knee open up towards the left. And your choice if the knee comes out more in line with the hip, so it's kind of like an open legged reclined staff, or if we want to bring the foot more in towards midline, so it's more like a reclined tree. Your choice, how the right leg is set up, leg extended, knee bent, foot on the floor, knee in towards the chest. We can always support underneath the left knee or thigh with a prop. Arms can do anything that feels good here. They could open up, they could rest on the body, be more neutral alongside the body. They reach overhead. Taking your time to settle into this shape. Giving your body some space and time to settle in. Noticing where the mind goes. And with the exploration of the mind, we can start to notice more of our internal dialogue. And we can start to get to know more of our inner narrative, of the stories that we tell on repeat about ourselves, about the world, about where we fit in the world. We can really notice how we talk about ourselves, to ourselves, how we perceive a lot of things. And we can invite in some curiosity around that to really see what's the story behind the story. Where does the story originate? And does the story hold true? Is it reflective of your values, your morals, your truth? Does this story originate from you or from someone else telling you what to believe, how to view things, telling you something about yourself? And then within this inquiry, we're able to then examine those stories a little bit deeper, and anything that doesn't ring true or doesn't feel aligned or doesn't feel like a story that we want to continue to tell ourselves, we can start to rewrite the script. We can start to figure out the root of that story so that we can change the story. So that our thoughts, our narratives are more reflective of our truth, of things that serve us. And that can be really challenging. We're told from day one by outside influence what to do, what to think, how to show up, who we are, how to be. And it can be hard to question all of that. But the more we do, the more we liberate our minds, the more we liberate ourselves. Be here for a few more rounds of breath. And whenever you feel ready, we'll bring the left knee back in. We can use the hand to support the knee, bringing it back in through center. We'll start to set up the last shape in this little series, a reclined pigeon or figure four. So we'll bend the right knee, plant it on the floor. We'll cross left ankle over the right thigh and start to open up through that left knee. We can stay exactly here. We could walk the right heel closer towards the glute. We could lift the right foot off the ground. The foot could land on a block or any prop, or we could use the hands to support the legs in front or behind the right knee. And you can also explore with some gentle rocking side to side, gently drawing the right knee towards the right shoulder, or using the left hand or elbow to gently press the left knee open. However you choose to explore this shape on this side. Maybe it's similar, maybe it's different than the other side. Trying to not have any tension creep up into the neck, the jaw, the tongue, the eyes, the shoulders, the chest. We'll be here for about another minute, just continuing to check in. I'm curious about mind, feelings, sensations. Whenever it feels good for you, no rush. Come out of our reclined pigeon, uncrossing the legs, and just moving in any way that feels good here. Any counter stretches, any movements. And if you'd like, we'll start to make our way up to a seated position, however you want to get there. And we'll start to set up a supported forward fold. And it's your choice how you want to set up the legs. Knees could be bent, feet in front of you, or legs could extend in front of you. You could also choose to come into a cobbler's pose, opening up in the knees with the knees bent. You could open up into a straddle. And as you choose how you set up the legs, you can always support under the knees, under the thighs, in whatever way feels good. You could bring blankets underneath the knees in a straddle. You could bring blocks or any support underneath the knees in cobblers. You could slide a bolster or cushions underneath the knees extended in front of you. And then as we come to our forward fold, we want to think about coming up and over the hips. And as we come forward, we can also choose to support the belly, the chest, the head. We can bring in stacks of props as we come forward to release the head too. Or we can bring props across the legs to support. Depending on the props that you've got, you can build kind of a little ledge in front of you or a little reclined kind of chair with a block underneath. So choosing how you want to support yourself. But again, so that we can relax fully into these shapes where we can soften the shoulders, let the shoulder blades melt, open up through the back side of the heart, bring awareness to that whole back side of our bodies. Releasing the legs in whatever way you choose to set this up. Connecting with your breath. I think there's some beautiful symbology to forward folds. They represent bowing to ourself, to our inner strength, supporting ourselves, knowing that we have the strength and the capabilities to support ourselves, while also opening up through our backside body, allowing people to have our back, allowing the universe to have our back. So it's that balance, bowing to our own strength, knowing that we have the strength and the tools to support ourselves, but also opening up to the vulnerability of allowing ourselves to be supported. So if it resonates, maybe feeling into that, seeing what resonates, either tuning in to your own strength, to your ability to support yourself, to love yourself. Or opening yourself up and feeling into the strength and courage it takes to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to be supported by others, so that others have your back. Or to trust the universe or whatever you put your faith in. That your highest good will be taken care of, that your needs will be met. Here for about another minute. If that feels okay, you can always come out sooner, you can always stay in longer. Whenever it feels good for you, you can always stay longer. Slowly starting to rise up and out of your supported forward fold. If the legs or knees are open, you can use the hands to gently draw them in. And just notice any movements, any counter stretches that would feel good here through the legs, through the spine, through the neck, through the shoulders. And then the next shape we'll get into, we'll counter our forward fold with a supported back bend and a nice heart opener. So you can either come down flat onto your back, or you can bring a prop to the back of your mat to release onto. So depending on your prop, you can bring a prop just behind the back of the heart to bring in a little more arching, a little more opening in the chest. You could also bring in a prop to support the whole length of the spine so that the spine, the neck, and the head are supported, still getting some back bending, still getting that lift in the heart, and allowing the shoulders to drop down and back as far as feels okay. You can even do this without any back bending. If you want, if you're using a prop for the lift, then we can also prop underneath the booty. You could also choose to come flat on the back. And if you want a little more opening in the chest, you can tuck the shoulder blades underneath and find a little puffing up of the chest. You can choose how you set up the legs. Feet could be on the floor in more of a constructive rest. You could extend the legs out in front of you to any degree. You could also open up in the knees in a reclined cobblers. And if it resonates with you right now, I'll invite us into a little meta meditation. So, as we're in this shape with an open heart, just allowing ourselves to feel into that, to just notice what it feels like to physically be opening our hearts, but then maybe feeling into that emotionally, what it means for you to have an open heart. And then if it feels available and something you'd like to explore, maybe think about someone who you love unconditionally. Someone who the love comes so easy, you don't have to force it, you don't have to think hard about it. The love is just there. Noticing what that feels like in the heart and the rest of the body. Maybe allowing that love to travel out to that person, to let them feel that love in this moment. And that love fill your heart. And maybe starting to think about someone in your life who's maybe a little more neutral. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a barista at your favorite coffee shop. Maybe it's a cashier at the grocery store, someone who is more of a neutral figure in your life that you don't have a really strong connection with, but someone who is, still considered a part of your world in some form or another. And notice what that feels like in the heart. And if it feels available, maybe sending them some love, some gratitude, some blessing, whatever feels like something you could offer them right now. Notice what that feels like. And then maybe start to bring to mind someone where it's a challenge to love them or to even like them. This could be someone directly in your life. It could be someone that you haven't met. It could be a more public figure. Could be a group of people. But feeling into that difficulty to maybe find their humanness, to connect to any sort of feeling of love or like or even well-being for them. And then seeing if you can send them some form of love, of compassion, of empathy. And see what that feels like. It's okay if there's resistance. It's okay if it's hard. Just seeing what that's like. To try to offer love to a difficult person in your life. Doesn't mean that you condone any of their words or actions. Doesn't mean that you have to sit down and have a cup of coffee with them. Just seeing if you can find some sort of offering of goodness to them. And then see if with this open heart, you can start to direct love to yourself. And this may be just as challenging as the difficult person. But see if there's anything you can offer yourself right now. Some understanding, some kindness, some gratitude, some forgiveness. Love may be a big reach. And just notice what that feels like. Whenever you feel ready, I'll invite us to start to transition towards our Shavasana. You can stay here if the shape is feeling good for you. If you want to find movement or any other exploration, you're welcome to explore that. And if there's a different shape you would like to take for Shavasana, take that whenever it feels right for you. Finding any shape where you could surrender, where you could give yourself some space and time to not do, to not think, to just be. You're welcome to stay in your Shavasana for as long as your schedule allows. You are ready to wrap up your practice when it feels right for you, starting to invite some movement back into your body. If you'd like to end your practice with me, gently making your way back up to a comfortable seat. I'll end with my gratitude to each of you for showing up, for sharing your time and your trust and allowing me to be your guide. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you,
That was-
Jenny.
Yeah, Kim should be back next week. It was a pleasure to get to hang out with you all the last 3 weeks. And hope I get to do it again soon.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much. Restore goes so fast. It always confuses me.
Yeah.
I agree. It was
Wow.
beautiful.
Have a good weekend. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
you too. Take care.
Bye.